Hello, everybody. Alongside Jess Settles, I'm Lane Griddle. It's great to have you with us for a Big East matchup here today. Both of these teams looking to build their NCAA tournament resumes, Jess.
No question, both in great shape on the right side of the bubble. Marquette feels like they can go to a Final Four. Creighton having a spectacular season. These playback games are awesome. You lose your first one, you get a chance for revenge, Lane. It's going to be a big one.
You look at the standings. These two teams were picked 8th and 9th in the preseason, so certainly exceeding expectations before the season began. And we're excited about this matchup here today. We take a look at the starting lineup sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. You see Justin Lewis, potential Big East Player of the Year, in there for Marquette. And then, of course, you talk about Creighton, you talk about Ryan Hawkins and what he's meant to this team.
He's taken 50 shots over the last 3 games, just raining in threes, become one of the better players in the country. Creighton struggled to score this year, but he stepped up his game at the offensive end.
Two teams that have been a bit of a surprise in the Big East this year. And a big one here in Omaha this afternoon is underway. Morcell, and now Justin Lewis, defended by the freshman Trey Alexander, and Lewis gets Marquette on the board right out of the gate.
He is so good from that mid-range. You can stroke it, does everything well for Shaka Smart.
See that pressure from Marquette, something you've seen over the course of the career of Shaka Smart, wherever he's been coaching. Inside.
Creighton has struggled with turnovers this year, but that is textbook how to break the pressure and make the pressure pay with an easy basket.
Max Prosper puts it on the floor in the lane. The double pump, no good.
I like how he pumped that to get his feet set. He just left it a little short.
Alexander, now to the freshman Nembhard. Over on the right side, O'Connell for 3, too strong, and a big-time defensive rebound by Justin Lewis. Lewis into the front court. Had that shot altered. Here comes Alexander. Creighton in transition. O'Connell puts it on the floor. Into Kalkbrenner, who flushes it home.
Well, Marquette did not get back on defense. They were not sprinting, and against Creighton, you have to sprint. You can't run back. You have to sprint back, stop the ball, and find shooters.
Queft at the high post. Now Kolek off the screen. Little runner.
Well, there's not a better passer in the country, and no one reads ball screens better than this guy. Creighton wanted to make him a scorer today, and what they meant by that, they don't want him to go out for 25, but they don't want him to be able to table set for everybody else. He is so crafty when he turns the corner. If you collapse on him, he'll find open shooters, and they'll kill you all afternoon.
10 to shoot in the shot clock. Hawkins in the corner for 3. Tipped around, and Prosper comes away with it. Lewis for 3. Hawkins clears the board for Creighton. Some pace to this one early on. And that's not a shot. That is something we expected from these two teams. A little bit of trouble from Nembhard. Gets it to O'Connell. Alex O'Connell finds Hawkins again. Puts it on the floor. Driving. And O'Connell with some touch.
It's the second time in this game Hawkins has been able to get deep, and when you can get around Darryl Morcell, you know you're getting by one of the elite defensive players in the country.
Knocked out of bounds, and it stays with Marquette.
Yeah, Hawkins is just torching the nets from beyond the arc, so you have to get a hand up. You want to stay on your feet, but high IQ basketball. What did Shaka Smart tell us? The most ready basketball player in the country. I've never heard that before, but he said every time he catches it, he's a step ahead of the defender.
He's played in 150-plus games in his career. As Ryan Hawkins. Lewis with the offensive rebound. Gets it again, and Lewis working hard for those two.
Does he bring the lunch pail or what? I thought he was fouled on that play, but he just never gives up. One of the most improved players in the country, and he brings it every night.
Alexander, and a whistle. And a turnover on Creighton.
There's a foul. No call. Goes right back up. May have been hit again. There you go. Flex, big fella. He earned that one.
Lewis with 4 early points here this afternoon for Marquette. and a couple of offensive rebounds, something you don't really see a lot from either of these teams. Good defensive rebounding teams, but not a lot of offensive rebounding. It's a lot of one and done typically between these two squads. We'll go to Creighton.
Very interesting when he puts the ball on the floor. The defense for Creighton is not collapsing. They are going out to the three-point line. So Kolek's going to have to win one-on-one battles in this game, and he's going to have to score. That's the way McDermott is going to funnel him. They do not want him coming out of here with 12 assists and getting lit up from three, because Marquette can really burn you from beyond the arc.
Hawkins comes up to set the screen for Nembhard and then pops. Look at inside to Kalkbrenner and deflected last touch by Marquette. It'll stay with Creighton. You see Kurt Queth there, the Oklahoma transfer, who has been a great presence inside for Marquette. Shaka Smart's been really pleased with what they've been able to get out of Kurt Queth.
He's had an outstanding year, and he's got a tough assignment in this one, but that's 2 plays in a row where he's outplayed Kalkbrenner.
Took it away, and in transition now is Marquette. Lewis will slow it down. Driving baseline, lost the basketball, and O'Connell comes away with it for Creighton. Looks for Nembhard, open for three. Yes. And that is vintage Creighton basketball right there, isn't it?
No doubt about it.
Inside the Queth, challenged by Kalkbrenner, gets it back. And the second effort is good for Kurt Queth.
Yeah, this second effort by Marquette is impressive on 2 or 3 possessions. They do not give up. Team not known for their offensive rebounding, but they're doing it in this game.
Another turnover by Creighton. Here's Greg Elliott into the game. Over to Kolek, open for three from the left wing. And Kolek gets in on the action.
This is a guy who's used to playing the wing. Transfers to Marquette, and they turn him into a point guard in just a couple months. Just an amazing job by that coaching staff. That is a hard transition, and he's been brilliant with the ball in his hands.
Alexander crossing over, being defended by Lewis. Now Hawkins with the basketball. Alexander driving baseline, tried the reverse lay-in. Good challenge by Lewis, and he comes away with the rebound. It's a 2-point advantage for Marquette. .15 to shoot on the shot clock for the Golden Eagles. Kolek had to take it away. Here's Hawkins, and Creighton wants to run. Hawkins going to take it all the way himself and draw the contact. And Ryan Hawkins, just such a crafty offensive player for the Creighton Blue Jays.
Great ball reversal. He can take it to the rim. He can dime people, and you leave him that wide open, he'll drill it.
And we welcome those of you that have been watching Providence and Butler. We are just underway here at CHI Health Center in Omaha, Nebraska. It has been a fast pace to this one with Jess Settles, I'm Lane Grindle, and so far this is about what we thought this game was going to be.
Both teams getting up and down, sharing the ball extremely well, rebounding well. This is a big-time revenge game for Marquette. They feel like they gave that first game away to Creighton, feel like they had it wrapped up. It was a very important loss for them. They were 0-3. The biggest change for them is they go from a 30% shooting team from beyond the arc to, after that, turn into a 40% shooting team from beyond the arc, and that catapulted them towards the top of the league and to a team that has Elite Eight potential.
Ryan Hawkins, who was fouled going into the break at the free throw line. Here's a look at the last time these two teams met on New Year's Day at Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee. Alex O'Connell hit a three at the buzzer at the end of the first overtime, and that propelled Creighton to that 75-69 victory. Marquette's, just as you said, Jess, been a different team from that day forward under Shaka Smart in year one. There's Omax Prosper going up strong.
He's so skilled. Guard all 5 positions, put the ball on the floor, and they're going to need that out of him today.
It's a 7-2 run for Marquette. Creighton has had some early turnovers. And there's Ryan Nembhard. Couldn't finish, but Kalkbrenner does.
aren't many guys more improved over the course of this season than Kalkbrenner. He's been elite defensively. He's improved at the offensive end. He just fits in perfectly for Creighton.
Marquette has made their last 4 shots after that jumper from Morcell.
That's a big sign for Marquette. Morcell's only 6 of his last 28 coming into this game, 3 of 13 from beyond the arc. He's got to find his shooting touch and become more of an elite scorer here down the stretch.
He was not a scorer at Maryland, known as being a great defensive player, but he's been able to score the basketball for Marquette over the course of this season. Alexander working against Omax Prosper. Now Connell lost it out of bounds, and it'll stay with Creighton. Chaka Smart didn't agree with the call. It's going to be a foul whistled against Marquette, actually.
Great little scoop shot there. And that's just something he could not do a year ago. He would have had to bring that down. But Aaron Morcell, one of my favorite players in the country, covered him a lot when he was at Maryland, a clutch player. But there are teams that are going to sag off of him, and he's got to make them pay with the jump shots.
Morcell's first personal foul after he hits the jumper, then he commits the foul on the other end.
And he's made a couple mistakes there against Hawkins and O'Connell. He's left his feet early in this game twice, got blown by once, and then picked up the foul. He's got to stay on his feet.
O'Connell missed them both. Hawkins, though, with the offensive glass and the putback. The savviness of Ryan Hawkins.
Just an incredible play, and Shaka Smart looks down his bench like, what do we put in for that? You just can never let that happen if you're Marquette.
Greg Elliott for 3. Nembhard with the rebound for Creighton. Leaves it for O'Connell. Deep 3 from O'Connell, but open. Creighton, who has not been a three-point shooting team this year, which is very different than in years past. Strong take there by Morcell, but Creighton letting it fly a little bit early on here in this game.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. They've got some good three-point shooters, but that's what they've been known for in the Greg McDermott era. Last in the league in that category. It's not like they can't shoot it. And second or third time, Marquette has not been able to match up defensively and gets that fast break. And we talked about Morcell, and I got a feeling he's going to have a big one in this game. He's built for these types of games. Just a strong, tough leader, and when he plays well, Marquette usually plays well.
Morcell with 4 early points. Nembhard working against the freshman Cam Jones. Sean Fizella in the game for Creighton. They swing it around into the corner. And Slaris. Now Andro Nikishvili, deep 3, does not draw rim, and it's a shot clock violation against the Blue Jays. So you're seeing some subs on the floor for Creighton right now. A team that has been dealing with some depth issues, so they get some of that bench involved here early on. It's a good one here at the CHI Health Center. 18-17 Creighton. Fox College Hoops is sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. Back at the CHI Health Center in Omaha, and Creighton Blue Jays are thinking about Hawaii this fall. They're going to the Maui Invitational. Look at that field, Jess.
Just incredible talent there. I'm telling you, most of Omaha is going to be in Hawaii, it sounds like. I mean, after this harsh winter, that sun would feel really good about now.
Feels like Hawaii outside the CHI Health Center today. It's like 65 degrees in Omaha, and seasonably warm. They'll take it. But that is a great field. Always a great field at the Maui Invitational. You always see great matchups throughout. Had a chance to cover the Maui Invitational in 2017. Just a great event. Really well done.
Players just love to play in that. Coaches take their families over, and so many important early season opportunities in that tournament.
The freshman Cam Jones with the spin move.
Well, this guy, he's got Steph Curry mentality. Drilled 5 threes the last time out. He just comes in. He's a walking bucket. You talk about a guy providing a spark and changing the momentum of a game.
Throws it away to Greg Elliott. Here comes Marquette. Lewis with a strong finish.
What a play by Elliott. Kept the ball in the center, gave it up to Lewis. Lewis could have given it back, but it was smart for him to keep it. Don't make it more complicated than it is. Go up and get the high percentage look.
Deep three from Nembhard. And Marquette on a 6-0 run with the basketball here. Also Iguodaro driving, got a little body from Fizel and draws the contact.
Marquette just so good at spreading you out, running the floor, and this was the right decision. That was not a selfish play. He knew he had the advantage. No use throwing it back into traffic. This is the first time I've seen Lewis play in person, and he is better than advertised. You talk about a strong kid with a ton of strength.
It's his second year in the program, Jess, and strength is the key word, and you see it show up on the floor as well. Doesn't just present a physical presence, he plays with a physical presence.
He really does. Guys just bounce off of him. He's so under control. Last 9 outings, he's averaging 20 points, 8 boards, shooting 50% from the field, and oh, by the way, drilling 50% of his threes. That's an All-American clip. See if Creighton can get Kalkbrenner going. They've got to get him on the box and at least pick up some fouls.
Biggest lead for Marquette, up 5. They're on an 8-0 run. Creighton trying to snap that. Nice look inside to Hawkins, but a whistle away from the ball. And the foul's going to go against Kolek. That is his second personal foul. And Shaka Smart goes to the bench, and Omax Prosper is going to come back into the game for the Golden Eagles, and Kolek will go take a seat.
Yeah, that's a big second foul, huh? I mean, keep our eye on that one, whether he's going to come back in the game or not, but he is so valuable to this team, obviously.
In the corner, O'Connell rises up for 3. O'Connell's second triple of the afternoon. And he has 6. And Jones again.
Jones is fun to watch. I mean, it's just instant offense with him.
O'Connell now to Andrew Nikishvili. Dribbles it out to the top of the key with 13 to shoot. Trying to go somewhere with the basketball. Gets it to Kalkbrenner now. And with 7 to shoot, it's Nembhard working against the fellow freshman.
Look at this defense.
2, 1.
Unreal. That's a travel.
One off. He traveled before. And that was incredible. First and foremost from Cam Jones.
My goodness. I mean, that is how you guard. And when Marquette guards like that, I kid you not, they can make a run to a Final Four. They're shooting the 3 so well. Look at the move your feet. Don't put your hands on it. There's the help and the switch. Turn the corner and a travel. Shaka Smart just applauding his guys on the sideline. Coach Hayes, I talked to him before the game as well. He said, when we guard what like we're capable of, we feel like we're going to win every night.
That's a culture play in a lot of ways, right? In year 1 under Shaka Smart is a big 3 from Cam Jones.
Well, last time out, he had 17 points in 17 minutes. So Coach McDermott saying, guys, that's exactly what the scouting report said, and nobody can stop him.
O'Connell dips underneath. These two teams putting on a show here in this first half. Some great offense. Jones driving, and Earl is on one right now. He is a guy that can get things going in a hurry offensively. And now an over and back on Creighton.
Yeah, Jones, he comes in these games and everything changes. The drop defense, no help. The little floater, an unguardable shot. He's been on fire lately. Right now, it's just a matter of you can't let him get it back. You've got to keep the ball out of his hands on this possession.
9 points in 5 minutes for Cam Jones. And he checked from it. In and out, no good. That almost fell. And here comes Creighton into the front court. Nembhard now going to slow it down.
Got to get it inside of Kalkbrenner. Got to get that post established.
Alexander to O'Connell, 15 to shoot.
There he is.
Inside to Kalkbrenner. Working on Iguodaro. And he goes up strong, and Iguodaro is whistled for the foul.
Marquette's defense has been outstanding, and they tried to go inside first couple times in the game, but Marquette got it out of there. But you can't give up on it. Great call by the officials. Gets into his space, and the good thing about this guy is a lot of big guys can't make free throws. He steps up usually and knocks them down. He's having a wonderful season, but the next 2 or 3 possessions, they need to at least make sure he touches it.
70% free throw shooter is Kalkbrenner, and he knocks down the first. Kalkbrenner, one of the few returners from last year's Sweet 16 squad. Much bigger role here this year in his sophomore season. He knocks down both free throws.
I saw these guys earlier in the year. I thought they'd be a 500 team. I just didn't think Coach McDermott and staff could get them to this level. And when you talk about two coaches who had fantastic years, Shaka Smart as well, both of these guys are National Coach of the Year candidates for what they've been able to do.
Defense from Creighton. Kalkbrenner takes it away. Alexander surveying the floor. Nembhard back out to Alexander.
Got to call for it if you're Kalkbrenner.
Look inside to Hawkins, who got free.
Well, he just feels the game and sees the game quicker than anybody else. He knows what's going to happen where he's supposed to be. Great slip to the open spot.
Nembhard knocked it away, and it goes to Creighton. Hustle play from the freshman Ryan Nembhard. It is a 3-point lead for Marquette in what has been an up and down the floor first half. Ryan Hawkins, nobody has more feel for the game than the senior. Thursday night on FS1, it's a star-studded showdown as E.J. Liddell and 18th-ranked Ohio State battle it out against Kofi Coburn and 12th-ranked Illinois. The action begins Thursday night at 9 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Ryan Hawkins, 7 double-doubles in Big East play. He has been everything the Blue Jays hoped he would be when they were able to get him to transfer in from Northwest Missouri State at the end of last year.
No question. And over his career, Coach McDermott's been able to find these diamonds in the rough. He just has an eye for it. And we were talking to Shaka Smart before the game, and I just said, hey, what are a couple keys to getting a victory here? And it was surprising. The first thing that came out of his mouth, he said, we need to try to contain Hawkins. And so far, 3 for 4 from the floor, 8 points. He continues to light teams up in the Big East. He's becoming one of the better players in the country. He's no longer a secret, but he is a big factor. And for a team that doesn't score very well, he's been bringing a lot of offense.
Nice lob underneath to Kalkbrenner, but good defense from David Joplin, the freshman, who checks into the game. And there is going to be a whistle, and it is a foul, but that was going to be an easy dunk for Kalkbrenner if Joplin doesn't fly underneath and make a play. That is the first personal on Joplin. Creighton with the basketball now. O'Connell. Over on the right side to Alexander. Into the corner. Open for 3 for Nembhard. And Ryan Nembhard knocks it down. His second.
He plays 35 minutes a game. He takes all kinds of beatings. His transition to this level has been sensational. And if he can get that shot going consistently, and they can make a run down the stretch here.
7-0 run for Creighton to tie the game at 30. And Creighton bringing some energy defensively now. They get it in the middle to Quath with 7 to shoot on the shot clock. Here's Morcell for 3. In and out. Rebound goes to the freshman Nembhard. Running the floor, trying to push tempo. In transition, and he draws the foul. When you talk about Creighton, you talk about the 3 Ryans. Ryan Hawkins, who we've talked a lot about. Ryan Kalkbrenner, who we've talked a lot about. And, of course, the freshman, Ryan Nembhard. And this is a team, Jess, that has been dealing with injuries, so they haven't been able to go very deep on the bench. And the 3 Ryans have basically had to stay on the floor for the entirety of these games. See the job that Greg McDermott right there has done. A 4-game winning streak, despite the fact that they've had really just about a 7-man rotation over this stretch.
Every year, he just continues to get it done. Everyone else underestimates Creighton at the beginning of the year. And by the end of the year, they're right in the hunt, whether it's winning the conference championship or going to the NCAA tournament, playing in the Sweet 16. He's just one of the best in the country. I've known him for many, many years. It doesn't matter what level he's coaching at. He maxes out his guys.
The travel on Omax Prosper. Creighton in the midst of a 9-0 run to take a 2-point lead here with 6:50 remaining in the first half. And to continue that conversation on Greg McDermott, this is a much different team than some of the teams he's had in the past. They've had to win in different ways. Shows the versatility he has as a head coach as well.
No returning starters, are not shooting the three very well.
Travel on Nembhard.
It's really been the defense, and Kalkbrenner has been the savior for this defense. Coach McDermott said this is the first time in his career he's ever coached drop defense, which means they're not coming up and blitzing or doubling the ball screens. They're not hard hedging with their bigs. He just drops and forces guys to shoot 15-footers. They're guarding the three-point line well. Coach McDermott's always been a solid defensive coach. I mean, he gets a lot of credit for his offense, but this year they've been elite defensively, and that's helped them survive a lot of nights when they're not scoring.
Speaking of elite, Kirkweth with an elite dunk. Nice follow by the Oklahoma transfer, Kirkweth, who's been just a tremendous find for Shaka Smart. He was familiar with him from his time as the Texas head coach, coaching against him at Oklahoma. 32 all. 6 minutes remaining here in this first half. Alexander puts it on the floor, rises up, splash. Alexander's first bucket of this game. Marcel going to the rim, hard against Kalkbrenner, and another putback dunk by Quett.
So they went with that double drag action up top, and a lot of times they slip that for a three, but Marcel just turned the corner and put so much pressure on him. There was no one to block out, and who says Marquette struggles to rebound the ball at the offensive end? I think Shaka Smart better start sending 3 or 4 there more often, and there's the double drag, there's the roll. Kalkbrenner can't block out on the miss because he has to slide over, and right in your living room, Marquette just two-fisting it on the Creighton defense.
6 offensive rebounds for Marquette. They're in the bottom third, or in the bottom 3, I should say, in terms of offensive rebounding in the Big East this year. Justin Lewis going hard in the paint, and he draws the foul on Kalkbrenner.
It's a great move. It's going to be interesting to see if they call this as a shot or a pass right at the last second. Looks like he's going to the free throw line. If you're Lewis, you go stand up there, but here he comes in.
The officials got together and determined it was going to be a pass.
Yeah, they got a pass on that, so sure, I totally agree with it. That's what they call.
Here's Lewis into the corner to Elliott. Elliott, a veteran, and he gets a veteran's bounce.
Man, weight room move by Elliott. Goes in there, gets hit hard, bullies his way right through the defender.
And for Alexander, who rattles it in.
That's why both of these teams are so scary in March. I mean, if they are shooting the three well, they can both get up and down. They're both physical. Nice if you're a Creighton fan to see these shots falling.
Finds Nembhard behind the back and then take it away. Elliott and Marquette now want to run. Nobody's stopping Elliott. And Elliott gets another friendly bounce and gets it to fall. And a timeout called by Greg McDermott. He's going to do some coaching with his young freshman, Ryan Nembhard. 38-37, Marquette with a 1-point lead in what has been a really competitive first half. 8 lead changes so far. .38 38-37, Marquette with a 1-point lead, and we saw Greg McDermott during the timeout take the young freshman point guard aside, and they slow things down just a little bit as Creighton pushing a lot of tempo. It's worked for them, but there's been some turnovers to deal with in this first half too.
Absolutely, one of those quick teaching timeouts. You're trying to teach your young freshmen what's at stake here. We don't need that. You got to pull that out. Don't try to conquer the defense. We don't need any circus shots or circus passes. Those reckless turnovers have hurt Creighton this year. They've got to get those shored up, but this kid responds to coaching, and I expect him to play well over the next 3 or 4 minutes.
10 to shoot. O'Connell in the corner. Boy, O'Connell has loved that shot here today. 3 threes for O'Connell in the game. He has 11 so far here in this first half. Cam Jones. Tipped around Alexander.
Great block out by Hawkins on Lewis, and finally somebody for Creighton put a body on one of those big guys.
Caught underneath in the corner. Here's O'Connell again. That time it doesn't fall.
O'Connell getting too many open looks right now. Great play set along the baseline. Quietly having an outstanding season.
Marcel.
There you go.
We've talked so much about Hawkins' feel for the game. Marcel, very impressive with his feel for the pace of the game as well.
You mentioned it. Early in his career, couldn't shoot it very well. I mean, 12, 15% at Maryland his freshman year. Now he becomes a threat offensively. This guy lives in the gym and wants to get better.
Kalkbrenner with the board and rejected by Queth. Kurt Queth, a tremendous talent. We are tied at 40 here with 3:06 remaining in the first half.
There's that double drag action again from Marcel. He's read it perfectly. He hits that 15-footer. Marquette's tough to beat.
Coming up on the Jeep halftime report, the ugly scenes in Madison as Michigan's Jawan Howard got into an altercation with the Wisconsin coaching staff. Plus, a pair of overtime thrillers, Providence Butler and 14th-ranked Houston at Wichita State. Lane, Jess, we'll see you at the break.
Thank you, Rob. 42-40 Creighton here at CHI Health Center in Omaha. They called goaltending right before the timeout on the Kalkbrenner little skyhook that Queth rejected. So Queth called for the goaltend. So Kalkbrenner now with 10 points. He's into double digits. And it's a 42-40 lead for Creighton. You see Kalkbrenner there, the 7-1 sophomore out of St. Louis. And he just impacts the game in so many different ways. And there's Queth. Such a great story. Kurt Queth, as a toddler, his family fled South Sudan as they were in the midst of a civil war. And then he ends up being a refugee in Egypt and then makes his way to the United States. And now here he is, a Division I basketball player and tremendous teammate, according to Shaka Smart. Greg Elliott spinning, knocked around. Creighton comes away with it. Alexander wants to run. Two and a half minutes left here in this first half. Alexander rejected, but a whistle, and a foul's going to be called against Marquette. I've been impressed with Trey Alexander's aggressiveness on the offensive end in this first half.
He definitely has that in his game. He got hit initially, knocked off his line. Such a bright future here. All of these young guys, both teams have a lot of players who need to come back and have a lot of success at this level.
Alexander makes the first. Alexander having himself a good first half, 6 points here. He has been asked a lot more of with the injury to Arthur Kaluma. He's been in the lineup for Creighton, and he's performed at a good level. You can just see him growing up as the season goes along. He knocks down both.
Had a little laugh with Coach McDermott before the game. I mean, the problem with not having a lot of depth is that guys know they have to stay in the game. So he says, look, he goes, my guys know that they're going to be allowed to make a few more mistakes because they're not coming out.
And that can be good and bad, right?
Definitely play freer.
Cam Jones rattled it around and got the friendly roll. Jones with 12. He's hit a couple of threes here in this first half. Hawkins now to Kalkbrenner. And again, Trey Alexander with the basketball, defended by Lewis. 13 to shoot on the clock. Trying to feed Kalkbrenner back to the basket. Look on Iguodala. Nearly had it taken away. The clock winding down. Rejected was Nembhard, but the follow by Kalkbrenner, and now they're going to wave it off. Nembhard on the floor and a little bit of pain. That's an injury Creighton cannot afford to have. Take a look at The replay certainly looks like Kalkbrenner got it off in plenty of time. Here's a better look at it. Is it out of his hands? Looks like it to me as they take a look over at the bench on the monitors. Very, very close. But I think that's good.
Like from that angle, he got it out of his hand just in the nick of time.
Creighton players going to come over to the bench, and Ryan Nembhard coming off the floor. Greg McDermott
on the board. Basket is good.
Talking to him as they hope that Nembhard's okay, but the basket is good, and that's the right call.
No doubt about it. That's why we have replay right there. Every basket counts, and it's interesting. Both teams, as good as they are defensively, both teams giving up too many straight line drives, too much action close to the rim, and then other guys have to help, and those offensive rebounds are there for the taking.
Greg Elliott off the rim, and the rebound goes to Alexander. Alexander been very active in this first half for Creighton. Creighton really without a true point guard on the floor right now with Nembhard over on the bench. Kalkbrenner to Alexander. They intend to shoot. Milking that shot clock almost every possession right now for Creighton. It's slowed down a little bit from the pace we were at a few minutes ago. Alexander stepping back and too strong with the two. Now here's Morcell. Over to Elliott. Morcell for three. And Daryl Morcell having himself a really solid first half. He has 9.
Well, Kolek in foul trouble, playing 7 minutes in this game. I think if you're Shaka Smart, you're very happy with where things are. Morcell, Jones lighting it up on the perimeter. What a game here in Omaha.
Tied at 46 here in Omaha in a big Big East matchup, and really both teams have been without their point guard for the last 60 seconds plus of this game. Tyler Kolek has been on the bench with 2 fouls. Ryan Nembhard left with an injury and has not yet returned. And right now the officials are back at the monitor again for a second time here in this first half. But you see Shaka Smart in the middle of that Marquette huddle, Jess, and the job he's done in year one, instilling the culture. And one of the first things he did once he got his roster set, he visited every guy on the roster, went and visited with them, their families, to really build that trust and that relationship, and it has paid off in a big way.
When you take over a program like he did, most of the time your best recruits are the ones who are already in the locker room. So you want to make sure you keep that core group, and he did a good job of reaching out to everybody, meeting with everybody, their parents, and trying to sell his vision in a short amount of time, in a crazy time with all the COVID breaks and online learning. And he's done a fantastic job here. He's just made for this league. The toughness, the pressure defense, the passion. It's good to have him back. And we talked about Morcell off the top. We thought he was going to have a good game in this one, and he must have been listening, because he's too good to not shoot it the way he's been shooting it.
So a clock issue that they were looking at on the monitor. Seems that we have everything resolved now. Get a look there at Morcell's 3.
And this is why I'm bullish on Marquette, and this is why a lot of people around the country like this team, because, I mean, you lose your starting point guard, and yet they have so much depth and they have so much talent and versatility. They can overcome foul trouble, injuries, things that other teams can't overcome.
Difference of about 6 seconds between the game clock and the shot clock here. Creighton holding the basketball with Nembhard back in the game. Good sign for the Blue Jays. Moves by the defender. 5 to shoot. They find O'Connell for 3. And that does not dry. And I think O'Connell trying to claim that he might have been fouled on the shot, but it'll go out of bounds, and it's Marquette ball with 8.5 seconds remaining here in this first half. And Kolek checking back into the game for Marquette.
Well, Creighton had what they wanted there. They ran Spain action at the top, which meant Hawkins set a back pick for Kalkbrenner. But Hawkins didn't get the screen set. If he would have laid a body on him, Kalkbrenner would have had a dunk or an easy layup.
Morcell, 6 seconds remaining. Knocked away by Andrew Nikishvili, and a tie-up on the floor, and a jump ball is called with 2.9 remaining, and it's going to be Creighton basketball with one final shot here in the first half. So Kolek comes back out. Shaka Smart didn't like the call at all. He was pleading with the refs. And Greg McDermott trying to get this play in. He was in the ear of Ryan Hawkins right before this inbound with 2.9 seconds here remaining in the first half.
Watch the pass back to Hawkins and watch Kalkbrenner at the rim.
Finds O'Connell, rises up for 3. And he stepped on the line. Good defense from Greg Elliott. And so now Marquette's going to have one final shot with 1.6 remaining here in the first half.
I have seen that stepping out of bounds along the side more this year than I ever have in all my years combined being an analyst. I do not know what's going on, but that's just a Cardinals that you can't step out of bounds. I mean, I've seen it twice a game this year.
Felt like O'Connell had more time than that, too, to get himself set and try to get a better shot.
Good call.
So now Elliott to get it in with 1.6. He finds Lewis. He turns. Long jumper's no good, and we'll go to the locker room tied at 46 in a first half that saw 11 ties, 9 lead changes between these two teams. We told you it was going to be a great basketball game this afternoon with a lot on the line, and it's been exactly that 20 minutes into this game. Creighton and Marquette tied at 46.
Welcome to the Jeep Halftime Report, sponsored by Jeep. There is only one. Ryan Nembhard, 2 of 3 from deep, the potential Big East Rookie of the Year. He's got 8. Things all level in Omaha. This one has seen 11 ties and 9 lead changes so far.
Defense optional. I love it. Let's keep it going.
Right in your wheelhouse. Casey Jacobson, Rob Stone here with you. Certainly an entertaining first 20 minutes from Omaha, but we want to get you right to the lead story this Sunday in college hoops. Michigan fighting to get off the bubble and into the NCAA tournament. They turned a Big Ten loss into a wild post-game melee in Madison today. This is your Jeep highlight, sponsored by Jeep. 15th ranked Wisconsin hosting Hunter Dickinson in Michigan. Dickinson, team high 21 and 5 boards.
He continues his excellent play as of late.
But then Johnny Davis, the National Player of the Year candidate, really started to take over.
He's starting to separate. Him and Oscar Tshiebwe are the 2 best players in college basketball this season.
Game high 25. Badgers win it. End of the game, going through the handshake line. Juwan Howard and Greg Gard get into it.
Ooh.
Badgers assistant coach Joe Krabenhoft gets struck in the head. And then players from Michigan start throwing punches as well. Real ugly scene to close out this one. Here are the coaches on the post-game incident.
I didn't like the timeout being called, and I'll be totally honest with you. I thought it was, not necessary at that moment, especially being a large lead. And then we'll have the timeout be called with 3 seconds, 4 seconds to go. I felt that was, what I felt wasn't fair to our guys. And so that's what happened.
Well, apparently he didn't like that I called the timeout to reset the 10-second call, because we only had 4 seconds to get the ball over half court. And I didn't want to put my backups. I had all my bench guys in the game. I didn't want to put them in that position of scrambling with only 4 seconds. So I took a timeout, and it got us a new 10 seconds and helped them get organized to get the ball in. And he did not like that when he came through the handshake line. So I'll leave it at that, and the tape will show the rest.
We know head coaches can be triggered by these late timeouts. We've seen it a couple times. Juwan Howard found it interesting that there was no apology in that soundbite on his part. And this is not an isolated incident from Coach Howard.
Oh, he let his emotions get away from him last season. If you remember, in the Big Ten tournament in March, they're playing Maryland. And late in that game, there's 11 minutes to go in the second half. And he and Mark Turgeon have words. There were no punches thrown in that incident, but he had to be restrained right here. He was ejected from the game. And I'm not here to try and make excuses for him, Rob. I know Juwan personally a little bit. He's a gentleman off the floor, but on the floor, he's had some issues now, and this is a difficult season for him. If you remember, folks, this was a Michigan team that was top 5 in the preseason. They struggled with a young roster. They were 7-7 at one point in the year, but there's no excuse for this, ever. He is supposed to be a leader of young men. He's got to set the example, and certainly fell short today. But this Michigan team, they were like kind of written off, Rob. They were 7-7, right? They had big wins against Purdue and at Iowa that put them back on the bubble. I'm wondering if Juwan was feeling some pressure to kind of break through and get this team to an NCAA tournament, and he was upset by what happened at the end of the
There has to be a suspension coming for him.
Absolutely. There was no suspension last year for the incident with Turgeon. There will be, absolutely, this time.
When we return, the sights from a pair of ranked teams that were pushed to overtime. The Friars, they needed just a huge comeback to get themselves to bonus ball. Earlier today here on FS1, Providence down 19 in the second half, rallied to force overtime. Nate Watson to spin. He had a game-high 22, Friars up 1. Seconds left in OT, Jaden Taylor.
Wide open.
Friars survive, advance. They remain first in the Big East. Number 14, Houston at Wichita State. Craig Porter Jr. Step back 3. Bang!
This was a game that would never end until it ended. Here.
Jamal Sheed, Jawan Roberts, his only points. They came in double overtime, the winner. 17 ties, 7 lead changes in that one. Cougars get the win. Second half from Omaha coming away on the backside. Cam Jones and Marquette trying to get to 10 wins in Big East play.
And we took a look at the first half stats brought to you by Jeep, and very offensive first half stats from both of these teams. I think the thing that stands out to me, Jess, the 6 threes by Creighton. Coming into this game, the only team that had less threes per game in conference play was DePaul, and Creighton's come out and shot the ball extremely well.
Especially against a team that can take that shot away from you. Marquette has length. They're third in the league in defense from beyond the three-point arc, and if Creighton is shooting the ball this well, especially at home, they put a lot of pressure on the defense.
And you see just how much better these two teams are playing offensively and shooting the basketball compared to the meeting in Milwaukee on January 1st. That was a 75-69 double overtime game. We'll see both teams at 46 at halftime here in Omaha.
Well, coaches always say, I mean, people think they are a lot better coach when their teams are hitting shots. Right, it makes a big difference, but Justin Lewis was only 4 for 18 from the floor in that first game, so he wants revenge in this game, and it's going to come down to defense. Somebody's got to stop somebody.
Early shot from Lewis to start through second half, and he gets it to fall. Lewis with 8. That is the 10th lead change of this game already between these two teams as Nembhard looks into the corner to O'Connell. O'Connell had a great first half, 11 points in the first half for O'Connell, hit 3 threes. Now Kalkbrenner working against Queth. Loses the basketball, gets it back to Hawkins. 6 to shoot in the shot clock for Hawkins. The runner in the lane falls for the super senior.
It's gutsy to attack Daryl Morcelli. You got a fingernail on it, but Hawkins continues his hot streak.
Hawkins into double figures now with 10. Morcell rises up over O'Connell, got the friendly roll.
This guy's going one-on-one at each end, and defense is struggling to keep the ball out of the paint, and no one can get up and block any shots right now.
O'Connell again. Defended by Morcell. It's been a great matchup today. Rises up over Morcell, and Morcell was able to effect the shot.
Turnover is a big key in that first half for Creighton. Marquette to get out and run a little bit. They've got to do a better job of making the simple pass.
Prosper for 3. And Nembhard comes down the board for the Blue Jays. Nembhard, little hesitation, now swings it around. Hawkins, a contested 3. Kalkbrenner with the offensive rebound. And then it goes through the hands of Nembhard and out of bounds. And so another turnover on Creighton.
Well, we said coming into this game, Hawkins had taken 50 shots over the previous 3 games. So every time he touches it, he feels like he's in his zone. And Morcell doing a good job the last couple of possessions being there. But if you just give him a little space, he's got the green light. He's going to let it fly.
Kolek, who sat a lot of the first half with a pair of fouls, out there here to start the second half for Marquette. Clef comes high post with the basketball. And now they get it to Prosper. Prosper's jumper's too strong. And it's going to be a foul, I believe, against Queth, who was battling with Hawkins underneath. That is the second personal on Queth.
Yeah, that's a big foul as well. He's got 73 blocks on the season, #1 in the league. Just a Dikembe Mutombo-like force around the rim. You cannot attack him. He'll just swat it into the seat. So he's got to stay out of foul trouble. But it's hard to pick him up on him as well because he'll block your shot.
Just like that, as he blocks the attempted 3 by Kalkbrenner. Alexander skip pass to Nembhard, driving, step back from the baseline. That's too strong. Prosper comes away with it for Marquette. Finds the trailing Kolek. Now Morcell driving, trying to go all the way to the rim, and a nice finish by Morcell.
He's been aggressive in this game. Mid-range jumpers, attacking the rim, good defense.
Four-point lead for Marquette. Trey Alexander driving, turnaround jumper in the paint, and he has kind of mastered that part of his game.
Very smooth with that turnaround, getting that Kobe Bryant action, but Kalkbrenner on these ball screens, rolling to the basket. Creighton continues to miss him. They've got to be more patient and get it inside to him. He's open.
Foul against Kalkbrenner, as Kolek was driving and tried to leave one over the top of him, and that is the second personal on Ryan Kalkbrenner. He's got him with the body underneath.
Yep, came into his space, got him with the hip, and it's a good call.
So Marquette trying to grow their lead. Kolek with 5 points in the game, and he knocks down the first free throw.
We talked about his growth as a point guard. Didn't play it last year and comes to Marquette, becomes one of the best in the country. Elite passer, good scorer. A lot of pressure on the defense when he turns the corner with that left hand, and every time he turns the corner, you just don't know what he's going to do with it. He's, in a matter of just a split second, he can find the open shooter on the opposite side. Great at those diagonal passes that most guys can't throw.
He has 5 or more assists this year in 20 games.
Yeah.
4-point lead for Marquette. O'Connell, nice look inside to Kalkbrenner. Didn't catch it cleanly, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, they finally got it inside to the big fella. They can get that about any time they want and at least pick up a foul. There's a careless turnover, but Kalkbrenner, you got to be patient with him. He rolls to the basket. It may not be there right away, but he's getting too deep. You got to seal before you catch it. Great pump fake. Not even Queth can do anything about that.
Into the corner, O'Connell. Again, a feed to Kalkbrenner. Challenged, but he finishes off the glass.
Well, Coach McDermott was thinking the same thing we were. You just have to be patient. Make the extra pass. Get the post established.
Nice play by Morcell on the other end. A big answer. It's back to a 2-point advantage for Marquette. Nembhard to Hawkins, spinning. Jumper off the side of the rim.
Morcell's locked in right now, isn't he? Both ends of the court, staring at the bench, talking a little trash just as I say that. A little assist to Creighton.
Put that one on Jess Settles. Here goes Hawkins to the glass. Oh, the rejection by Queth. And then Lewis, but a foul is called. This has been quite a game so far. 2-point advantage for Marquette. 15:09 remaining in the game. Fox College Hoops is sponsored by Jeep. There's only one.
We've
got a good one here at CHI Health Center in Omaha between Marquette and Creighton. Daryl Morcelli, transfer from Maryland, never scored 20 points in his 4 years as a Terrapin. He's done it 5 times this year with Marquette, and he's on his way to his 6th. He has 15 points.
This is a huge story developing for Marquette. And we talked about it in the first half that he'd only made 6 shots in his last 3 games combined coming in. He's already got 7 field goals in this game. He was locked and loaded in practice right before the game and shoot around. He was so focused I didn't even go over and talk to him. I usually go over and say what's up and how's the family and things like that, but I covered him a lot at Maryland, the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. He's always been elite at that end, but if he can bring the offense at this type of clip, I'm bullish on Marquette, Lane. I just think they're deep. I think they're physical enough. They've got tremendous length, and they've got scores. They're going to run into some big, tough centers in the big tournament. It'll be a question of can they fight them physically down on the post, but Daryl Morcell bringing it in this one.
Lewis was whistled for the foul going into the break. How about the Baltimore connection for Marquette with this team? You've got Morcell from Baltimore, Lewis from Baltimore, and 2 of the really elite players in Big East Conference play. Both Justin Lewis and Daryl Morcell. 56-55 your score. Marquette with a 1-point advantage. Iguodaro gives it to Elliott, working against O'Connell. Got a screen, rises up for 2. And Hawkins and Alexander sky for the rebound for Creighton.
Good decision by Elliott to bring that ball back off that ball screen. It's a wide open shot. It's just one he's got to knock down.
Nembhard to Alexander, driving. It's caught underneath, tries to throw it back to Hawkins. 7 to shoot on the shot clock for Ryan Hawkins. Picks up his dribble. Here's Alexander, 3 to shoot. Behind the back, step back, contested 3. How did that go? Now a turnover. Here comes Creighton with numbers. Alexander trying to get another one to go. That one left short. And Iguodaro with the rebound.
Sometimes better to be lucky and good. That was great defense by Marquette, an even better shot. But if you're Creighton, Kalkbrenner's not open on those initial actions. They've got to reverse the ball, let him reestablish. They're getting rushed on those initial actions and getting into trouble. They just got lucky on that shot.
Lewis working against Nembhard. A little bit of a mismatch there, but they take it away. Nembhard into the front court. They got 3-on-1 to the trailing Hawkins, and Hawkins will finish. And the crowd coming alive here at CHI Health Center. It's a 6-0 run for Creighton, and they have a 4-point lead. Morcell quiets the crowd.
Morcell been in so many big games, hit so many big shots, especially late in games. He was the guy who needed to quiet this crowd, but what about Nembhard? Not trying to make a difficult play on the fast break, just get it to the right cutter. And that was beautiful Creighton fast break basketball we've been watching around here for a long time.
Inside to Kalkbrenner. O'Connell really trying to force the issue with Kalkbrenner the last few possessions where it's come through Alex O'Connell. This time he takes it all the way to the glass. It's an 8-2 run for Creighton. Morcell, everything's been running through him. Knocked away. Last touch by Marquette, and it's Creighton basketball.
O'Connell, we know what he can do from downtown, but like a running back going off tackle. What great body control, protects the basketball. Kisses it off the glass. He gets better every time I see him.
And a foul whistled against Iguodaro on the other end, so that's why it's Creighton ball. It's his 2nd personal. Alex O'Connell is doing everything the right way, shooting the basketball really well, but making good decisions with the basketball. Here's O'Connell again, working against Cam Jones. Finds Kalkbrenner. He bends the rim. Shaka Smart needs a timeout to talk to his Golden Eagles.
Coach McDermott went deep into the playbook on that one. What a brilliant draw up. Little Iverson cut across the top. Kalkbrenner slips it. Place is going nuts. A two-fister for the big fella. He's so good at attacking the rim.
It's been a 10-2 run for Creighton. They lead by 6, and you look at Ryan Kalkbrenner, the 7'1" big man from St. Louis. And Jess, you've been calling for this. You wanted to see Creighton run the offense through him, and that's what they've done.
Been so patient, calling for the ball, getting good deep position. Hard for even a shot blocker to stop that. That's a perfect seal. Just think of the hours he has spent in the gym with this staff working on footwork, and great read. Sees the lane open up, slips to the basket. 19.6 boards, hasn't missed a shot. We know what he does defensively, but what an impact he's had on this program, and what a threat he is to the rest of the league. You got to get him found early and often. Man, he's improved.
That 19 is the game high. Morcell leads Marquette with 17. It is Creighton's biggest lead of this game. That's what kind of a game this has been. It has been back and forth, a ton of lead changes. But Creighton enjoying their biggest lead so far with 12:09 remaining in the second half.
Jones been averaging a point a minute the last couple games. Let's see if he can get involved in this second half.
Oh, what a take by Lewis. Kalkbrenner out of the game, not there to defend the rim, and the protector's out, so they go right at the rim.
Lewis so patient, never in a hurry.
Nembhard to O'Connell, rises up for three. And a rebound goes to Lewis. Stevie Mitchell into the game for Marquette. And there's Iguodaro and the whistle. It's on Keyshawn Fizel. That is his second personal foul.
Major miscommunication defensively there. I don't think Fizel is supposed to double the ball screen right there. I mean, you can't leave your man. That's just so wide open. Breakdown. Marquette takes advantage.
Creighton with a 63-62 lead here this afternoon at CHI Health Center in Omaha, Nebraska with Jess Settles. I'm Lane Grindle, and the three-pointer by Trey Alexander earlier in the second half has now been deemed a 2. That's why it's 63-62. Here's a look at the updated standings in the Big East. A lot on the line for these two teams. Providence surviving in overtime at Butler earlier today, so they improved to 12-2. What a job Ed Cooley has done with that Providence bunch.
He's going to be the National Coach of the Year if he keeps this up. Just an amazing job. And we talked about Shaka Smart most years would be the favorite with the job he's done. And Greg McDermott, if it wasn't for those two guys, he'd probably be the favorite. So all three coaches just getting the most out of their teams.
Yeah, there's been some great coaching jobs in the Big East Conference this year. Here's Nembhard as Iguodaro unable to make it a three-point play by missing the free throw. And it's still a 1-point lead for Creighton here. Been a great basketball game this afternoon. Exactly what you thought when you looked at it on paper. 3 to shoot of the shot clock for Nembhard. Driving, little runner, and it goes for Ryan Nembhard.
He was dead in the water right there. That was good defense, but a playground move to freeze Lewis. I don't know how he did it. Slipped by him, made it look easy.
Cam Jones to Lewis. Tried to slip it around the defender to Iguodaro, and he'll go to Creighton.
Marquette's got to crank up this full court pressure, and just a nice hesitation, teardrop. Every good point guard has that in his arsenal. Marquette's got to create some turnovers here and get some runouts.
There's that pressure from Marquette. How is this different from what Shaka Smart used to run back at VCU?
Well, the new cylinder rule just prevents him from being able to trap the way he wants to trap. I played for Dr. Tom Davis at Iowa, and we pressed a full game as well, but you can't get up in guys on an initial pass like you used to, and that takes away the advantage from full court defense.
Shaka Smart, a Wisconsin native, so excited to be back at Marquette, and at the helm of this program. He has really enjoyed being back in the state of Wisconsin, and the support that he gets from the administration at Marquette. Such a great basketball tradition at Marquette. Kalkbrenner tied up here. Keeps it, and it's knocked away into the hands of Cam Jones. Fans here in Omaha don't like it.
Great job by Morcell to go down and help out his big.
Morcell for 2. That's too strong. Now Alexander wants to run up ahead to O'Connell, and O'Connell with the reverse miss. And Morcell takes it away. Here comes Marquette the other way. And Jones down into the corner. Deep 3 from Jones. Yes. Cam Jones can heat it up in a hurry. We saw it in the first half. And Shaka Smart said after their last game that if Cam Jones hits one, he thinks he's in the midst of a hot stretch, and he's going to keep shooting.
I mean, like we said, he's averaging a point a minute over the last couple of games, and Creighton had a couple guys fall down. They were scrambled and discombobulated defensively, and there's one guy you can't lose on the break, and it's Jones.
Creighton hit 6 threes in the first half. They've not hit one here in the second half. And good defense from Marquette. Omax Prosper with the basketball, tied at 65. Jones crossing over, had it knocked away, and it'll stay with Marquette with 18 on the shot clock.
That's what's interesting about this new look Creighton defense. Kalkbrenner plays that drop defense against those ball screens, and so he's in the paint instead of hard hedging or trapping, and it's tough when you come around the corner and you see that 7-footer with that kind of wingspan waiting around the rim. You can settle for those 10-footers, but those are hard to make.
Iguodaro and his 3 fouls go to the bench. Greg Elliott checks into the game for Marquette. Morcell. He has been so good here in the second half, and he continues that theme. Goes all the way to the glass.
Well, that time Kalkbrenner made a mistake. He was right there in the paint, the same drop action, but he forgot to stop the ball. Morcell comes around the corner, and he doesn't challenge him.
Marquette back up by 2. They've made 5 of their last 6 field goal attempts. And a foul out front. Alex O'Connell fouled by Cam Jones, his second personal foul.
Morcell comes around the corner. There's Kalkbrenner. Now look, he leaves him. You can't ever leave the ball. You got to trust your teammates on the backside, but it's the first time he's made that mistake. Let's see if they come back to that action on the next couple plays.
Nembhard. Into the corner, O'Connell open for 3. Offensive glass to Hawkins, and the putback is good. No basket, as the foul will be whistled on the floor. But again, that craftiness of Ryan Hawkins always has himself in position.
Great call, partner. The guy leads the league in double-doubles. I don't see how. I mean, with all the great scorers and rebounders in this league, I don't know how it's Hawkins, but on that play right there, he's just a step ahead of everybody else.
Foul was on Omax Prosper, his first. Need to shoot the shot clock. Nembhard puts it on the floor. Loses the basketball into the hands of Alexander. Back out Nembhard for 3. Yes! Nembhard with the first 3 of the second half for Creighton. Now Creighton up by a point, 68-67. Back and forth we go. Morcell with another answer. Every time Creighton has come up with a big shot, it's been Morcell to answer on the other end.
That is going to be the action down the stretch. Morcell coming off the ball screen, having to make a decision, forcing Kalkbrenner to either come up a little bit or stay home, and he is killing that action right now. Marquette, about 3 or 4 possessions in this game defensively. They've won that battle, but the ball sprays out and somebody knocks into 3, so they're going to have to come up with these 50-50 balls. Good defense. Clock running down. Those hurt.
Coming up next on FS1 Big Ten basketball, Rutgers looks to make a March Madness push against 5th-ranked Purdue right here on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Boy, Rutgers has been playing extremely well here down the stretch, have they not, Jess?
Well, I tell you what, if you're ranked, you don't want to play Rutgers because they've just been knocking off ranked teams right and left, and it's not just at home anymore. They went into Madison and beat a good Wisconsin team. The Big Ten is loaded. That is going to be must-see TV. Rutgers and Purdue. Kevin Kugler's got that call, right?
Kugler and Coach Lavin will be on the call for that one.
That's a big one. I couldn't get into the arena today. I didn't have my pass, so I said, well, I'm friends with Kevin Kugler, and let me right in.
name carries a little weight in Omaha, right?
There's a little weight around here.
Trey Alexander at the line, coming out of the timeout, and the first free throw is good. You heard the crowd getting loud as we came back from timeout. They were honoring on the video board some former Creighton greats that were a part of this Sweet 16 team a year ago. Damian Jefferson is back. Marcus Zagorowski, Denzel Mahoney. Some great basketball players on a really good team from a year ago.
I was selfishly hoping all those guys would take advantage and come back for another year and try to win a national title, but it seems like everybody wants to leave as soon as they can.
Justin Lewis. What an athletic play by Lewis, and he draws the harm.
Sometimes you just have to take it out of shot blocker. It doesn't matter if you get your shot blocked or you get a charge. Sometimes you have to send a message to the defense that we're coming. And this is what he tried to do. I tell you, it looked like he was pretty vertical, but he forced a whistle.
Third foul on Kalkbrenner, so keep an eye on that as Lewis misses the first free throw.
Different angle of it. You just right to the round. Yeah, that would have play on to me. That was a play on. Two guys colliding. He's straight up. Third foul. It's a big one.
So he makes the second, and it is a 70-70 ball game. These two teams played to double overtime in Milwaukee back on January 1st. We've got a classic on our hands here this afternoon as well. Taken away by Morsell. 2-on-1. He goes up and tries to dunk over Hawkins, and the follow by Elliott is good.
Daryl Morsell is locked in today, everybody. That is bad news for Creighton. He is thriving at both ends. He misses that dunk, but that was all him.
Marquette with a 2-point advantage. Nembhard driving. Still dribbling the basketball here. 4 to shoot. Queff comes over and draws the foul up top. Morsell so explosive defensively.
Defensive player of the year in the Big Ten last year. Takes it to the rim. That's just how he plays. Great follow-up. Daryl Morsell. I've seen him make huge plays over the years down the stretch, and he's usually at his best in the last 10 minutes. He's been awesome in this game.
Morsell has a game-high 21. Queff, who just committed his third foul, gets the rebound on the miss on the front end of the 1-and-1 by Nembhard, who's upset with himself.
Queff got away with that one, fouling that far away from the basket with no time on the clock, but they missed it.
Oh, what a tip-in by Queff.
Offensive rebounding in this game. Big story for Marquette. They are attacking the glass.
Hawkins out to Nembhard. Step back for 3. Yes! Ryan Nembhard heating it up. Couple of triples here in this second half for Nembhard. He has 4 threes in the game and 16 points.
He's making such good decisions in this second half with the pass and the shot.
Morsell leaves it for Queff, and Queff with an and-one chance.
I told you before, the story down the stretch is going to be Morsell attacking the big fella for Creighton. He's forcing him to make decisions. Kalkbrenner has to come up. There's no help on the backside, and one beautiful pass. That is so difficult to guard.
First personal on Nembhard. Queff trying to make it a 3-point play. Just a 54% free throw shooter on the season. And this is that one. 3-point Marquette advantage. O'Connell to Hawkins. Now Kalkbrenner comes up high. Into the hands of Alexander, under 10 to shoot. Into the corner, Nembhard. Couldn't decide what he wanted to do with it and got caught. Turnover on the Blue Jays. Morsell coming the other way.
There it is again.
Right at Kalkbrenner and finishing. 23 for Morsell.
You have to get a timeout, I think, if you're Coach McDermott. But every time down, Morsell is going to force that ball screen action. Creighton can't handle him right now. He's going to keep coming at you.
And Kalkbrenner with 3 fouls changes the dynamic a little bit. He has to play that a little differently, and Morcell's aware of it.
Exactly right. It puts him in a precarious situation. Do you stay back? Do you drop? Do you come up for the 15-footer? Just very difficult. Morcell said that time, look, I don't care if you're at the rim, big fella. I'm taking it at you.
Morcell's career high is 26. He's done it twice this year. And he has hit 23 points with just under 5 minutes remaining in this game on 11 of 17 shooting. It's just been really penetration as much as anything. And that little jumper in the lane, the pull-up jumper from Morcell, that's been really the key to his game today.
And that's what's led to his success. You're exactly right. He wasn't shooting the ball well coming in. Now he's knocking in the threes, knocking in the 15-footer. It puts that defense in a tough situation, and you're mentally thinking, I got to come out a little farther than what I want to on the ball screen defense.
He has 14 in the second half, does Morcell. Here's O'Connell for a quick 3. And now Hawkins again with the offensive rebound. And gets it back out. O'Connell's down and hurt, and a timeout. So they can tend to Alex O'Connell. This is a team that is not deep right now. Not a lot of options on that bench, and O'Connell's in pain. That is a significant development for Creighton, and you hold your breath if you're in this arena right now.
Just the one team in the league that just cannot afford any more guys going out.
It has been a challenge for Creighton from a depth standpoint, and Creighton has not gotten a point from its bench in this game today.
I'll tell you what, it's just a beautiful elevator screen play, wide open shot. Stepped on the foot, didn't he?
Happens quite often in that situation. And they're still working on O'Connell. So likely what you'll see is Roddy Andronikashvili come into the game for the Blue Jays. Remember, Arthur Kaluma not available today. They were hopeful that he might be able to go, but just was not able to give it a shot today. So he is in street clothes and on the Creighton bench. They're hoping they can get him back soon. That'll be a big deal for Creighton when they do. He's a fabulous freshman. But O'Connell, who's such an explosive player, really can jump, very athletic, can run the floor, good defender. And he is such a huge part of this team, especially from just a veteran presence standpoint. He's been a big part of this young team growing up. Him and Hawkins have really been guys that Greg McDermott has leaned on the floor.
No question. Great leader, explosive scorer, great three-point shooters, played well in this game. Those are such painful injuries, and probably won't see him the rest of this game.
That's a tough break for Creighton. So as we told you, Andronikashvili now in the game for the Blue Jays.
Well, we've said it a lot in this game. Kalkbrenner, if it's not there initially, reverse it, be patient, let him touch it.
Alexander. Now 5 to shoot. Hawkins with it. Driving, double team taken away by Morcell again. And Morcell tried to feed it in transition. It's knocked away and out of bounds off of Creighton. Boy, both ends of the floor right now, Morcell is just kind of taking over this game.
Yeah, you can't say it any better than that. I mean, Hawkins attacks. He digs. He's been going down and helping his bigs. He's been rebounding, running the floor, putting all kinds of pressure on the defense. And Coach Mark's just going to say, hey, we're going to keep rolling with you on this possession.
And Jones, 5-point lead for Marquette. Tried to scoop it underneath, and Kalkbrenner rejected that one up into the tunnel.
I thought Cam was going to pull up initially for that jump shot, and if Kalkbrenner's set like that around the rim, it's tough to get it over him.
Elliott gets it into Jones here. 6 to shoot at the shot clock for Cam Jones. Deep, step back 3. That's off the side of the rim and out of bounds. And it's Creighton ball.
Great defense by Nembhard, knowing how much time was left on the clock and knowing who had the basketball.
Game that has been offensive heavy has slowed down just a little bit on that end. You've seen both teams lock it in a little bit defensively here.
Let me help you. Let me help.
Alexander to Hawkins. Hawkins double pump in the paint and got the friendly bounce. Hawkins with 14 in the game, and the crowd getting loud at CHI Health. It's a 3-point lead for Marquette. Morcell, jumper, but a whistle prior to the shot, and it's an offensive foul on Morcell. That is the second personal on Morcell, and Shaka Smart was all the way out to half court, giving the refs an earful. It's a 3-point lead for Marquette. Don't go anywhere. We've got a great finish coming up.
Jaden Ivey had gone for double figures in 22 straight games before being held to a season-low 8 in Wednesday's narrow Purdue win over Northwestern. Fifth-ranked Boilermakers look for some payback on a hot Rutgers team next, but first back to Omaha, Justin Lane.
All right, thank you, Rob. How about the afternoon that has been in Big East hoops? Providence survives in overtime over Butler earlier today, and now this one. Just an absolute great game between Marquette and Creighton. This is exactly what we thought we would get. It's very similar, maybe not in styles, but in terms of competitiveness, to the first game between these two teams in Milwaukee back on January 1st.
This league delivers almost every night, and this is another one that's shaping up to be an instant classic. I love these revenge games. Marquette does not want to be swept by Creighton, and obviously Creighton has to defend their home court.
You can see it in Marquette's eyes right now. Toughness and just a desire to get this victory. Intensity from Daryl Morcell has really set the tone on the defensive end, especially for Marquette. Here's Nembhard. Picks up his dribble. Feeds to Kalkbrenner. 5 to shoot. Now Nembhard again driving. Baseline. Somehow he got position and was able to lay it in. Explosive. And it is loud right now in Omaha. Morcell. Max Prosper. Prosper spinning, throwing up over Kalkbrenner, and he draws the foul. And that is exactly what Marquette's strategy is right now. They're going to take it right at the big fella almost every possession.
Prosper, a great job at the other end, keeping the ball out of Hawkins' hands, but at the offensive end, another guy for Marquette who can just beat defenders with the dribble. And anytime you're in trouble, Lane, you just pump it. It's very difficult for a defender to stay on his feet. You get to the free throw line, a big-time move by Prosper. You lead at both ends.
For Kalkbrenner, that is foul number 4 with 2:40 remaining. For an already thin bench for the Creighton Blue Jays. Prosper has made 10 free throws in a row. And of course, he misses that one. Nembhard. It's a 2-point Marquette advantage. Hawkins backing in Prosper. 7 to shoot. Hawkins lost the ball, but a foul. It's going to go against Morcell. That is the third personal for Daryl Morcell. And it's double bonus time now for Creighton, so Hawkins will be shooting 2, trailing by a pair.
Morcell been very good today at going down and digging and helping out, but he just got missed right there. And Hawkins just automatic, been sensational over the last couple of weeks, gone from being a good player at this level to a great player at this level.
Elliott coming into the game, Prosper coming out. Hawkins is 3 for 3 at the charity stripe today. And he's 3 for 4. Gonna stop talking when these guys are at the free throw line.
Prosper have done a pretty good job of blowing up some of Creighton's plays recently and guarding Hawkins, so it'll be interesting to see if Creighton can get Hawkins the ball in a scoring position the next couple times.
Loses the basketball. Here comes Nembhard, accelerating, finding the trailing Hawkins, and Creighton leads. First lead since they led 70 to 69. Minute 44 remaining. Marcel, right elbow. Too strong. Gets it back, though. Lewis underneath of Kalkbrenner. Couldn't finish. Here comes Hawkins. And wisely gets it back to Nembhard.
Oh, the ultimate Euro step. You're right. Got to make that play down the stretch.
Creighton leading by 1. Minute 15 to go.
They're just going to clear Hawkins out here. They think he has the advantage.
Nearly lost it on the way up. It goes in and out. Elliott comes away with it. 60 seconds remaining in the game. And a timeout called by Shaka Smart.
1 minute to play.
Boy, what a basketball game here this afternoon, huh?
One of the best I've seen all year. These two teams going at it on every possession. And Nembhard in this second half has been a true magician. Tries to draw contact here. How does he know Hawkins is trailing? He never looked at him one time. He just knew he would be there. One of the best passes you'll ever see. Lane, how did he know he was there?
How did he know he was there? And I think probably more than anything, just what Ryan Hawkins has done all year long. We talked about it with Shaka Smart before the game. He says he's always ready. He's always ready. And he was ready there to make a big play. And again, the awareness and the vision from Nembhard is really hard to explain. That's how good it is.
You take defense and turn it into offense. He trusted that Hawkins would be there, like they've drilled so many times over the year in practice. And they come up with the play of the game so far in this one to take the lead. What a incredible pass on the fast break.
All right, Jess, you're Marquette. You've missed your last 4 shots. If you're Shaka Smart, what are you trying to draw up here?
Well, it looks like their most success has been with Marcel and the ball in his hands. He missed that 15-footer late there, but they're going to start with him. High ball screens. If you're Creighton, you better know where Jones is. And if he gives it up, you can't let him get it back.
Jones to Prosper. Driving, going right at Kalkbrenner. And again, Kalkbrenner able to alter the shot. Creighton basketball with 44 seconds remaining. 25 on the shot clock. Marquette has missed their last 5 shots. And now Nembhard going to come over and call a timeout as Greg McDermott wants to talk it over with his club. It's been a very offensive game, but it's slowed down a little bit. These are two teams that have played hard and been up and down the floor for, at this point, 39-plus minutes, and legs a little tired at this point. This is where you got to dig deep.
Yeah, maybe that's how you explain it. Marquette, a couple of opportunities the last 3 or 4 times to get shots at the rim, just haven't been able to finish. But right now it comes down, they're going to have an elite defensive set right here, switching everything. If you're Creighton, I know Greg McDermott wants Kalkbrenner to at least touch it once on this possession on the post.
Here's Creighton's upcoming schedule. They're at St. John's, and then a big one with Providence and a really good UConn team. And then Seton Hall. Those last 2 coming here at CHI Health Center. And then here's Marquette. They have Butler at home and then 2 DePaul. And then home against St. John's. Again, we talked about it at the beginning. I feel like both these teams on the right side of the NCAA tournament conversation right now, but you're never comfortable. You always want to continue to pad that resume, and this is a big win for whoever comes away with the victory today. That's going to be a huge win for the resume.
And that's what both coaches said. I mean, this is a monster win for both programs. Somebody's going to get out of here with a ton of momentum. If you're both coaching staffs, you're reminding your guys you have 1 timeout. Let's be smart about that. If you're in trouble, you have 1 timeout. Creighton is in the bonus.
You see Shaka Smart. He wants to call his guys back for a couple of final words before they break the huddle. He's got Iguodaro, Marcel, Lewis, Elliott, and Cam Jones on the floor for Marquette. It's Creighton basketball coming out of the timeout. Buckle up. Should be a fun finish here. Creighton with a 1-point advantage. Hawkins to get it in. There's a 17-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. 8 to shoot. Nembhard working against Marcel behind the back. 3 to shoot. Jumper from the corner for 3, and it's off the top of the backboard. Nembhard just got a little bit deep and looked like he lost the shot clock for a moment.
A world-class defense by Marquette. Game is on the line. They have a great team, an elite defense, and they just took every single option away from Creighton and forced probably the toughest shot of the night for the Blue Jays.
So 16.8 remaining. Shot clock is off. It's a 1-point advantage for Creighton Marquette basketball. Again, I ask you, what are you trying to come up with here?
Let's take a look at it right here first. You got 3 seconds on the shot clock. Morcell challenges the shot, doesn't foul the shooter. Outstanding defense by Marquette. They've had 3 or 4 of those situations in this game where they've been stout defensively. The ball has found its way to a shooter and they've been hurt late in that shot clock. But if you're Marquette offensively, you got Jones and Morcell at the top on these ball screens. They've had a tremendous amount of success with this. They just haven't finished at the rim. So do you drive it deep this time and kick it for a shooter? I still think Morcell will be the one that makes the decision here on this possession.
So you saw the refs at the monitor just trying to make sure they had the right time. They add a little bit of time onto the game clock, 17.7 instead of the 16.8. Again, double overtime the first time around, and this second time around has matched it. 2 really good teams with the NCAA tournament on their minds. Morcell works it across half court. Andrew Nikashvili nearly took it away from him, and now he dribbles out of bounds. What defense from Andrew Nikashvili!
You talk about great Marquette defense. That was just elite one-on-one defense with the game on the line. Took it away from the star player.
A guy that has really only been in the game because of the injury to Alex O'Connell, Andrew Nikashvili, and he locks down Daryl Morcell and gets the ball back for Creighton with 8 seconds remaining and a 1-point lead. It's going to be a little bit more than 8, I think, after they look at this one. Probably more like 8.4. We talk a lot about Ryan Hawkins and the leadership that he provides. We just saw it right in front of us here, Jess. Great big play by Roddy Andrew Nikashvili. The crowd is about to blow the roof off this place. And Ryan Hawkins getting ready to inbound the ball before the timeout. And he's trying to get everybody's attention, specifically Andrew Nikashvili, to get him lined up straight. So it will be Creighton ball with 8.4 after they go to the monitors.
Hawkins' story is well documented. So many championships at the Division II level. The kid hadn't lost 10 games in his life, so he knows how to play and how to think a play ahead late in these games with pressure.
He is a winner, and he's always thinking about the next thing you have to do to win. They get it into the backcourt to Andrew Nikashvili. Dribbles through traffic, and now he's fouled by Iguodaro with 5.5 remaining.
Well, Marquette tried to foul right away, and I thought they did foul. They didn't get the whistle, which allowed another 2 to 3 seconds to go off.
So Andrew Nikashvili, 15 of 22 at the free throw line this year. He has played just 9 minutes in this game, with a chance to play hero. And he makes the first. The big defensive play, and now trying to make it a 3-point ball game. And Greg McDermott coming over to Alexander and Nembhard saying foul if it's a make.
Yeah, you don't make this decision on the fly if it's a 3-point game.
And he missed the second, so the point is moot, and the timeout called by Shaka Smart. So it's a 2-point game, and Marquette's going to get a decent chance at a look here with 5.3 seconds. That is plenty of time to get something good off here.
It's the best thing that could have happened to him with the turnover and everything that went down. Obviously, a 2-point game is much better than a 3-point game, but you're basically thinking in your mind you get a dribble a second, so there's plenty of time to push it all the way to the rim. You're going to take the best available shot. They're going to attack the rim as hard as they can, kick out for a three. Creighton drops back, you're going to pull up and take the three, but whatever is the most available, there's plenty of time to do what you want to do.
Now Creighton has a foul to give. They only have 5 fouls, so that's probably something else you take into consideration if you're Greg McDermott.
And it gets a little tricky in this situation because a crafty guard, if they see you coming up the foul, will go into their shooting motion. So if you're going to do that, which he's planning on doing, you've got to be very smart about it.
Marquette, of course, still has that January 1st game on their minds, losing in double overtime and a chance to try and even things up in the series by stealing one on the road at Creighton, but it's going to take a last-second shot to at least force overtime, or a three would potentially win the game for the Golden Eagles. Both these teams with 17 overall wins on the year. And we've seen a lot of toughness from both of these squads in this game. Elliott will inbound it.
He can't run the baseline.
Elliott trying to get it in, and he stepped on the line. And listen to this crowd. You just mentioned he couldn't run the baseline, and instead he leans out and ends up stepping on the line.
Unbelievable, Lane. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Unbelievable. Had Morcell coming around early, hesitated. That is tough.
Creighton trying to lob it into Kalkbrenner. He's fouled immediately by Justin Lewis. So Kalkbrenner goes to the line with 4.8 seconds remaining now. It was close. Just got a piece of that line by centimeters. This has been such a well-played offensive game, but the offensive execution down the stretch hasn't been as good as it was in the first 15 minutes of this game. I should say 25 minutes of this game.
We give credit to the defenses. They've been really good all year. They just gave up too many easy shots. But down the stretch, the defense is really locked in.
Kalkbrenner makes that one. And a chance to make it a 2-possession game here. Third 20-plus scoring game this year for Ryan Kalkbrenner. Make it 21 for Kalkbrenner. Marquette will get it in. Elliott is fouled by Andrew Nikashvili with 4 seconds remaining. And again, there was a foul to give for Creighton. So no reason not to slow them down, take a little bit of time off the clock before they have to inbound it again. Elliott gets it in to Jones. Steps through with a bank three with 0.1 on the clock to make it a 1-point game, and a timeout is called. And my guess is there might be a little bit of time added back onto the clock, as Creighton will have to inbound it here. He steps through Nembhard, who made sure he didn't foul him, and he banks it in.
That was such a smart play by him. His initial thoughts were to try to pick up a foul. I mean, he leaned in a little bit. Nembhard was smart to get out of the way, but this kid can hit any. If he's in the gym, he's open.
Cam Jones has such great range. 18 in this game coming off the bench. He had 19 against Georgetown in his last game. They're going to put 0.6 on the clock. Creighton has to get it in. Marquette, of course, will be trying for a steal or a foul, trailing by 1.
Well, that's critical, because if for some miraculous reason they were able to steal it, they have a time to flick a shot off and create a miracle here.
Anything over 0.4, you have a chance, but it's going to be tough for Marquette here. Alexander gets it in to Ryan Hawkins, and the clock will expire. The Creighton Blue Jays survive an incredible basketball game here this afternoon against Marquette. An 83-82 victory, and there's a look at your updated Big East standings. Creighton improves to 10-5. Marquette falls to 9-7. Creighton moves into a tie for third with UConn. And Jess, this game lived up to what we thought it would be. What a tremendous game. It's too bad somebody had to lose.
No doubt about it. I thought Nembhard in the second half was just a brilliant point guard. Had those 4 ugly turnovers in the first, but only 2 in the second. Those key plays on the fast break were huge. Both teams very dangerous going into March.
A great game this afternoon in Omaha. The home fans will go home happy after Creighton wins at 83-82. That's all from Omaha. The final score, 83-82. Creighton, Rob, and Casey are coming up in the studio next.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Rutgers